I swear, if there's one thing on this planet more powerful than the sun itself, it's a suburban Karen sense of entitlement. You think I'm exaggerating, but let me set the scene. Humid Saturday morning sweat already running down my back, and there she is, leaning over my porch rail like she owns the place, plugging her pink hair dryer into my outdoor socket like it's just another accessory on her vanity. No good morning, no May. Just the whine of a high-wood hair dryer echoing across the lawn, making me stop mid-sprinkler repair. For a second, I actually thought my wife was blow-drying the dog again. But no, this cord bright bubblegum pink was slithering across my yard over my flower bed, right under the fence toward Karen's driveway. You ever stand there, mouth open, so stunned you forget how to make words? That was me taking in the sheer audacity, the kind that's practically an art form. This isn't just, oops, I need a favor. This is a whole plan. Find the socket, stretch the cord march onto someone else's land, and flip that switch like the world owes you 1-800 watts of glory. Then she finally turns big sunglasses, hiding half her face hair twisted up in a towel like some queen of damp arrogance. "Oh, hey," she yells over the hairdryer. "You don't mind, right? Power's out on my side of the block." I just looked at her and said, "Karen, that's because you tripped your own breaker last week running a tanning bed and 2 space heaters off one outlet." She tilts her head like I'm speaking in Greek and waves me off. It's temporary. Just doing my roots before the HOA brunch. Let me back up a sec. Karen isn't just a neighbor. She's the HOA's social chair treasurer and self-appointed queen of the cul-de-sac. She runs this street on pure voltage, doles out fines for mailboxes that are too aggressive schedules, lawn inspections like a military exercise, even tried to get a veterans flag taken down because it clashed with the color harmony. And here she was jacking my electricity so she could hold court at another brunch. So I crouch by the socket trying to keep my tone casual, but I can feel the wire coiling inside me. "Karen, you can't just plug into my house. That's theft." She laughs. "Oh, don't be dramatic. It's just a few minutes. You won't even notice it on your bill." That's when it hit me. She wasn't doing this because she needed to. She was doing it because she could. Boundaries were suggestions to her. My patience was apparently renewable energy. Fine, I thought, let her have her 5 minutes, but I started plotting. Not revenge, not yet. Just contingencies. Snapped a photo of her cord, time-stamped it quietly, flipped open my breaker panel, and labeled the outlet. Karen finishes up hair blasting backward in a golden halo. "Thanks, neighbor. You're such a team player." That night I checked the security cam. She'd come back. Twice. Once at 3 p.m., once at sunset. Plug, dry, strut away. By Monday, my outdoor outlet was her personal salon. She'd even left a folding mirror propped against the fence. The arrogance was now infrastructure. So I called the HOA office not to complain, just to gather intel. "Hey, do we have any policies on exterior outlet use?" Secretary says, "Not really, but Mrs. Dillard Karen. She just proposed restricting all outdoor outlets as safety hazards." Of course she did. She's cutting off everyone else while secretly draining mine. The hypocrisy was well electric. At that point, I decided to set a trap. Next morning, sipping my coffee by the window, I see the pink cord slithering across the grass again. Didn't even knock. I waited till she vanished behind the fence, then slipped into the garage. Now I'm an engineer, solar low-voltage systems, all that jazz. I know how to rewire a 120V outlet to a 240V circuit with a flick of a breaker. I wasn't out to hurt her, just educate her. So I flipped the switch, checked my voltmeter, and waited. A few seconds later, pop, that hairdryer let out the most satisfying bzzzt I've ever heard. Karen leaps back, clutching her dryer like a wounded bird, stomps toward my fence, hair flying furious. "You broke my hairdryer. You plugged into my house," I said, stepping outside, coffee in hand. "It's your outlet. Maintain it." She sputters. "That's not how electricity works." "It's how boundaries work," I said. "I'll be reporting you to the HOA for vandalism communal property," I asked, laughing. "Pretty sure my mortgage says otherwise." She storms off, pink cord abandoned like a flag of defeat, but the war was just starting. That afternoon, there's a citation taped to my door, unauthorized modification of exterior power system, signed, of course, by Karen. Violated the electrical harmony clause. Didn't even know we had one. That was her opening move. I started collecting evidence photos, timestamps, smart meter logs, brief spikes every time she plugged in. Friday, I brought it all to the HOA open meeting. Karen's at the head of the table, clipboard in hand, smug as can be. Mr. Daniels, you've tampered with regulated electrical infrastructure. I slide the folder across the table. Funny, because you've been tampering with my house. She opens it, photos, meter logs, everything. The room goes silent. I was only, she stammers. Drying your roots, I offer. Board members snicker. She slams the folder. This isn't over. And she meant it. The next day, I find an orange extension cord, half buried under my garden bed, routed like a covert operation around my motion lights. The woman came at 2 a.m. with a shovel, tunneling through my mulch just to tap my power again. I just had to laugh. She'd even routed it around my motion light so she wouldn't trigger the sensors. I unplugged it, followed the line right into her yard through a doggy door, could hear the faint hum of a mini fridge and curling iron. Took more photos, made coffee, and enjoyed the sheer absurdity. Karen was breaking at least 6 HOA rules while weaponizing them against me. But I didn't call the cops. Not yet. Instead, I baited her set up a decoy outlet box with a surge monitor ready to record the voltage draw. Sure enough, at 11:42 p.m., monitor beeps. I peek out, Karen, flashlight trembling, plugging in. 10 minutes later, pop, she shorted her own line again. Next morning, she's at my door, clipboard ready. You tampered with communal electrical supply. Communal? Where's that in the bylaws? She flips papers, finds nothing. Even if it's not written, it's implied. Karen, I said, you tunneled through my garden like an electrical mole. She glared. Watch your tone, Daniel. HOA takes harassment seriously. Great, maybe they'll take theft seriously, too. She storms off. That afternoon, she puts up a notice on the bulletin board about community power access penalties. She's rewriting the rules after the fact. So I go full technical, upgraded my system, added a sub-panel, dual outputs for the house and tools. Monday. Greg, her poor husband, gives me the usual awkward wave. That afternoon, the orange cord is back. I flip my workshop to 240V and wait. Across the fence, loud pop, shocked screams. Karen's holding a fried power strip. What did you do? She shrieks. Karen, you need to stop plugging into my property. That's the shared outlet. Then why's it on my wall? She storms off, threatening lawyers. An hour later, 3 board members show up. I serve coffee, play the footage of Karen digging, plugging, and trespassing. By the end, none can look me in the eye. Let's review this at the next meeting, they mumble. Karen must have thought they'd side with her because she's back on her porch that night yelling across the fence. You think you're clever. You think the HOA can't touch you, I call back. You're standing in your bathrobe screaming about electricity. Maybe sit this one out, Greg mutters to me the next night. For what it's worth, I told her to stop. I just nod. He's a decent guy stuck in a live wire storm. By Friday, my power flickers. I check the meter, someone's pried it open. Karen's escalated to tampering with utility equipment. I call the power company, they send a tech. Someone's been piggybacking your line, he says. Lucky it didn't spark. Inspector files a report. Karen's smile evaporates as they uncover her secret cable. Suddenly, it's an investigation. Neighborhood whispers start. Karen's telling folks I'm the thief, that I hacked her house, framed her. I just laugh. She's not flipping the narrative, she's welding it shut. The board, finally fed up, calls an emergency meeting after a backyard fire caused by another one of Karen's jerry-rigged cords. She tries to spin it, says she was testing my system for safety. Board suspends her HOA privileges. You can't suspend me, I am the HOA. Not anymore, Becker says. She's out. But endings with Karen are never that simple. She files complaints, tries to trigger inspections, even organizes a rogue safety task force in her backyard. I call Deputy Wilson, who's basically become my personal power war referee. She's recruiting now, I say. This isn't just harassment anymore. He agrees, violating the restraining order, organizing meetings about me. She's finally pushed too far. Wilson files for a full protective order. One night I find an envelope on my porch photo of my house taken at night. Her handwriting, "This isn't over." Chilling, but almost pathetic. She's gone from queen of the block to nighttime stalker. Next day, another fire. She tries to short my fence with accelerant. Deputies haul her away, vacant-eyed, muttering about balancing the current. Greg tells me she had a breakdown, really believed I was stealing power from the whole neighborhood. A few weeks later, Oakage Court is calm for the first time in months. No more crazy bylaws, no more fines. The HOA even dissolves Karen's old rules. Then just when I think the circuit's broken for good, I see a moving truck across the street. Dillard Holdings, LLC. Karen, shorter hair, new attitude, back again. This time she's subtle. Brief voltage spikes, new black boxes wired to my sub-panel. Wilson and I find one, a transmitter. Custom built. She denies everything. I finally unplug everything, tired of her using my own power against me. The utility company finally disconnects her property after irregular feedback. She stares at me from her candlelit window, palm up. You win. And this time I think she means it. She moves out for good, house goes up for sale. New neighbors move in. The voltage war fades into legend. Now on quiet nights, I still hear the crickets, smell the jasmine climbing the new cedar fence. Sometimes I wonder what made Karen tick, what made her trade a community for control, neighbors for power. In the end, I guess we were both stubborn, but I learned when to cut the current. She never did. So here's my question for you. When does protecting your turf become obsession? Have you ever had a neighbor cross the line, or heck, been tempted to do it yourself? Drop your story or your thoughts below. And hey, if you enjoyed surviving my suburban voltage war, don't forget to share your own wild HOA stories. I could use a good laugh or maybe a warning.